Welcome to Rooted and Routed, the podcast about expat life. Today we have a special guest on the show. He is from Belgium. He has been an expat for since 15 years. He is also the partner in crime for me, my husband, Dieter Bissel. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start with your journey because I'm sure 15 years you've had a lot of experience that you would like to kind of share with the audience. Your journey so far and your background.
Yeah, sure. So thanks for inviting. And I think it's really excited to do this and to be here. So yeah, in fact, I'm an engineer. So I'm from Belgium. So started working beginning 2002. And to be honest, I was never really looking forward to become an expert. When I started to work, I never thought of that. I'm more the traditional Belgian, like wants to stay close to the family, close to the hometown. And so I started working, which was already quite a distance for me in Antwerp, which was at that time approx 100 kilometers away from my hometown. And after 14 and a half, I got the chance to move to Italy. And then after Italy, I came to India first time, and then moved to Sweden. Came back to India, so second time. Uh, Went back to Belgium, was a short time in US. Back in Belgium, and then here we are, the third time back in India. So in total, indeed, 15 years of expat, and of which 11 years in India.
That is a massive journey.
That's indeed already quite a journey, yes.
And you are in a special situation where you started your expat journey as a solo. Then you moved on to have an expat journey with a wife, so a married life as an expat. Then the third time you also experienced married and as a father. So expat life, that's a third level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, third level of expat life. How has it been? Do you see a difference in yourself as an expat? I'm sure there's a difference in social life as an expat, solo expat life when you are just you and your wife, and now with kids. What is the difference that you see?
Well, it's of course it's indeed three different lives, you can say. When I started to Italy, I was at that time not really thinking about being expat. I was offered a kind of a short-term assignment in Italy at that time for 1 year. So I said yes, it's fine. Everybody was enthusiastic. It's Italy, 2 hours flight, beautiful country, nice food, and so on. So for me, it was like, okay, let's do that. And at that time, indeed, I was alone. So I'm like, yeah, if it's 1 year, and after 1 year I come back. The same was then when I got the opportunity to move to India,
Yeah.
which was yeah, a bit of a surprise because I was really looking at the end of my assignment to move back, and all of a sudden I got the question for India. But I was like, hey, why not? I mean, I didn't know India at all at that time. I was yeah, only had these fixed pictures in the mind. Never been traveling to Asia. So before coming here, I asked the boss at that time, yeah, can I at least go for a pre-visit? I loved it. I mean, the adventure, the expat life. I met the few Belgian families at that time, and I really was like, oh, that's really great. Maybe once you have a partner, it's difficult. That partner is working or not willing to move, or still wanted to stay away from the wanted to stay close to the family, or maybe a job which is difficult to move, and so on. So I was like, why not? I must say my family was not really that happy at that time. They were like, oh my God, India, like so far away. They were thinking I'm going to the other side of the world, which maybe is not literally the case, but it's indeed it's much further away than Italy. But okay, in the end, they kind of accepted it. And then yeah, at the end of the assignment or during the assignment, I met you. Yeah, indeed. And then yeah, we know that okay, 2010 we got married, and let's say half year before the end of my contract, and then you realize okay, what's next? You have to move somewhere, but you don't move alone. It's like you have to go to a country that is needs to be good for both. And then after I think 1 month or something, I got the opportunity to go for a shorter term to Sweden. We gave it a shot. We remember we arrived there, very harsh winter, -25, so really, really tough. And then then you realize you're not alone. You have your wife with you.
Yeah.
And you know how it was in office searching and then coming home searching. So really was like we didn't know each other that well at that time. So, but I think after a few months, I always say for me, expat to adapt takes 3 months.
Yeah.
I think everybody will
For
agree.
me, it took more than that. Also because for me, that was my first expat country. And then to see so much of snow around. The first day of Sweden, Stockholm was -17. So coming from India, around 40 degrees, then going to Belgium to buy first time the leather boots because I never had one, right? I never. Back then it was -10, if I'm not wrong, in Belgium. So that was a harsh winter. From there, 2010, we moved to Sweden, -17. So for me, that was really a huge difference. And then settling down in Stockholm as expat has been really hard.
I mean, it was tough for me.
Yeah.
So I can imagine for you, first time abroad, first time out of India, it's even much more difficult, the climate-wise, the culture-wise. I remember many things were so obvious for me, but for you were a bit more difficult to accept, or you're not aware of that. So, but then you had a beautiful summer, and then I think we really started loving Stockholm a lot. And then at a certain moment, so I got a chance, or you move back to Belgium for the same position, or I got a phone call from my previous boss, like, okay, would you be interested in going back to India for a project? So then the step to India was a possibility, and then we accepted. I think
the major difference was the decision of not going back to Belgium was both of us should be in the same boat for an expat country. Then it was good. Going back to Belgium means you would be local and I would be an expat. I would feel as an expat. You would know everything while I would not know anything. Sweden was different for both of us. The language was different. The weather was different. So we were in the same boat. But Belgium,
I remember that we agreed that would be ideal. Of course, you can choose.
Yeah, you can all the time.
Over time.
Every time you can have
That we said something new. But I remember when the chance was there for back to India. I think we were both very excited. And then after 3 years back in India, then our son Elias was born, and that's again a life changer, and especially also as an expat. Okay, if they're that young or baby, it's you literally take them in the back with you. It's not that difficult. And I remember that in 2017, for me it was, I was kind of looking forward to go back home, back to Belgium after 11 years being abroad. We first time living in Antwerp, the area that we don't know, we struggled a lot with administration. We struggled a lot in all these things, and then okay, from crash, from school to for Elias, all these things were so difficult. So we never really found it like. I think for me, I realized that as an expat, there is an ideal time to move. Not perfect, an ideal time to move. November, moving to Europe from a tropical place, I think is hard. Yeah. We moved in November, and then that was the winter time, the gray weather. It starts to get colder, which means that even stepping out or exploring the city becomes really hard because you're not used to the temperature. So for me, that was the problem. Exactly. I got a chance then to go to US, but then initially it was alone. So I went for 3 months, let's say, every month up and down, leaving you and Elias behind. It was a tough one. It was really tough. And then coming back to we were then 3 months in USA, but okay, 3 months is I mean, you don't even have time to kind of know the country, accept the country, adapt, because then you go back home. Back in Belgium, I think that it was a bit better, and then the chance came to go back to India. So some people, of course, will looking at me or looking at us will say like, oh, it's easy for you to go back to India. But I think I was at that time more enthusiastic to go back to India than you. That's a fact of life. And then of course, Elias at that time was 6 years, and I think 6 years is for me like the time.
5 years.
Yeah, 2021. So it's he was almost 6.
Yeah.
So like you can still take them easily with you, but it's indeed the difference between single, married without kids, and married with kids in an expat life. It's extremely important, and the moment you move, I think it's not you only have to take into account your partner, for sure also the kids. What is most
Yeah.
most important. I think it's a difficult one. You really, the moment you have to move, I think as a family, you really have to kind of accept it. And I think also you have to, as a family, also like discuss where are we going, what are the pros, what are the cons, and I think that's the most difficult one. That
You mentioned while talking about your journey, you mentioned about the registration.
Mhm.
You've been to Italy, Sweden, US, but in Sweden it was an expat contract. In India, of course, 3 times. How do you see the registration process? Like opening a bank account, getting a SIM card. Was it easier in Sweden than in India? I think in Italy, being a European, you don't need to really do. You can easily use the same card, right?
Well, in Italy, I was not really expat. I still I was in project based, so that's quite easy. The moment I came to India the first time, was more difficult. But let's say you follow the flow, you're alone, so that also makes a difference. You have agencies helping you in these things, because if you don't have these agencies, it's you can be sometimes sent from pillar to post. It's difficult at that time. Not much digitalized. Now it's much better, but at that time it was all the paperwork and going to the right person and following the queue and the process. So, but you have to just follow. But to be very honest, when you think about it, for me, I was expecting things to be much easier going to Sweden.
Yeah.
The beginning in Sweden, I was also on a project in Belgium, so we had to register in Belgium, and then I had a project for half a year officially in Sweden. So registration in Belgium was also lots of lots of hassle, to be honest.
I'll let you explain that because I have gone through that, but okay, I know that you were part of it, and then it was hard.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you have the wedding, so the wedding needs to be registered. That was the first part. That was even before we went to Sweden. It was tough, and then the registration in Belgium. Finding a domicile, although you live in Sweden, was like was not that easy. And then in fact you realize that also in Belgium we have a lot of administration, a lot of paperwork. And I think if you see our wedding,
It's colorful.
It's colorful. I think it has like 7, 8 stamps and 5, 6 other papers attached. It looks amazing, but they need it in Belgium also. So people who think it's much easier and things are online in Belgium, no, that's not the case. So I must say, in India, the bank, you follow the flow. It was quite okay. It's a bit more cumbersome and many signatures, and then even at one time rejected because in one document, 10 signatures, one was not the same as the 9 others. So you get that back, but okay, sometimes you have to say, okay, fine, we just go for it, we do it. So I think it was okay.
Coming back to family, to Belgium, in the whole journey, how has it been? The support, is there something that you regret? Is there something that you want to bring attention to the other expats who are thinking of taking this path of expat? That how do you consider to put it out to your parents that hey, I want to be an expat, I'm going to be away from the country for 3 years, 5 years. How was that experience?
Well, many expats have a family of expats. So then it's of course, once you have been growing up in an expat family, it's easy. For me, I was literally the first one moving abroad. Moving to Italy was kind of okay, because people saw the positive. Okay, we can go on holidays to Italy. It's 10 hours drive by car, 2 hours by flight. Beautiful country, good food, good climate, and so on. When I moved to India, or talking that I was considering it, it was much more difficult. Then I could really see the emotions, and I remember for my father, it was like, oh my God, he's leaving us for good. And then he was at that time he was single, so he was like, oh my God, and you don't even want to get married, and you don't want to come back. He took it like very personal. I told him that's not the case. You don't have to look like that. It's far away, but in the end, it's 8 hours flight. So if there's something, of course, uh, I will be coming. And when I spoke with my grandfather, also, he was also, oh my God, so far. But then, okay, you speak often on the video. At that time, we had Skype, which was quite popular. When I was then in Belgium for holiday, let's say 2 times a year normally, then I was always made special effort to meet the grandparents alone. Then you have a few hours of really meeting alone and talking. Whereas normally during Christmas or Easter when you meet, you have like 10 grandchildren together, so you hardly speak with your grandparents. So but yeah, that emotional thing of being far away and kind of leaving the family, leaving the country, leaving the kind of close community where everybody lives like half an hour away from each other, that was a difficult one to accept. But I think now it's quite they know us, they know our story, they know that on important moments we are there, but yeah, we are far away. That's true.
Yeah. I think everybody would like to know, and that is the consulate engagement. We have been in Sweden, and I remember we have been to one evening with the consulate where all the Belgians were invited. And also in Mumbai, the consulate from Mumbai came to Pune, wanted to see the Belgians. So I assume you are happy with the consulate engagements, or are you expecting the shipping more?
When I look at India, of course, from a professional point of view, a few times we were invited. We don't have that many Belgians in Pune. We have over all these years, let's say, on average 8 Belgian families, so it's not that much. In the beginning, a few times there was a delegation here. I remember that at a certain moment we had Prince Philip coming over to India, and we were invited. We had the inauguration of a joint venture with a Belgian company here, and we were invited. I was invited when in Mumbai when at that time the king and the queen were visiting, so then we were also invited. So we get sometimes mails like, okay, on the Belgian the national day. We are invited, and of course in Pune we're quite small. I think now it has reduced a bit because also in the past we had one person who was really kind of strongly attached to the Belgian consulate in Mumbai, and then we had some activities together. So the moment there was somebody from the consulate visiting, let's say a local company, then he made sure that we were also invited for the dinner. Now it's a bit less, and sometimes it's for some, let's say for some activity going to Mumbai and back 2 times 4 hours in the car. It's not always that easy, but I think it's quite okay. So I think when I hear other people with other nationalities talking, they really have a closer, let's say, relation with the consulate or with the embassy.
Okay, but I think they can bring some engagement on special occasions, like you said, on 21st of July, the Independence Day, the National Day, as you say. Belgium, they organize some event for that day, and most of the Belgians are then not around because they're back for summer holidays. They're away. They're not in India.
True.
But other than that, like Easter, what I personally miss is during Easter period. What do you think? Do they have access to certain Belgian delicacy, the dishes that really come from Belgium, that is not available in the Indian market? I wonder how do they celebrate, in fact, for themselves Easter? Yeah,
That's a good question.
yeah. I mean, think of it, right? As a counselor, I'm sure they also have a family. How do they celebrating Easter without Easter eggs?
Majority is, of course, also they're all expats, so they're also expats, and I think they have been traveling abroad. Do they really feel the need of also having the Easter with Easter eggs? I guess yes, but it's difficult. I know on the 21st sometimes they make sure there are Belgian waffles and Belgian frietjes, the French ones, or a Belgian group who's performing, so that they can organize. But indeed true. If they do it on 21st of July, most of the Belgians are out on leave, and there is, for example, the 15th of November also. But yeah, that's sometimes in the evening, as I said, to go for one evening event to Mumbai and back. It's sometimes quite hectic.